on the moon.
Hello everyone. We've all seen the Season 10 preview for Sea of Thieves, and if you haven't, make sure to go check that out. And there are big things being added by the end of the year. The way Season 10 is going to work is it is going to be split up into 3 separate updates, each released once a month. First being in October, second being in November, and the third and final part of the season being in December, ultimately being called a Super Season by Rare. Starting on October 19th, we've got Guilds! An addition that's been teased for a long time is finally making its way into the game. I, for one, am extremely excited for this addition to the game. I've been wanting a way to bring people together as a community and strive together for shared goals without being in the same ship or server. Having a way to work together as a community throughout separate servers and at different times is an amazing update to the community side of the Sea of Thieves. It also opens up plenty of potential for future features that can be tied into guilds. And as of making this video, we still don't know many of the things that people will be able to unlock as a guild. Then, in November, we will be receiving the second part of the Super Season, the Skull of Siren Song. For November, we are receiving the first official competitive voyage, called the Skull of Siren Song. This voyage plans on pitting multiple ships from the same server against each other, in pursuit of a chest on one island and a key on another, ultimately rewarding who get both the Skull of Siren Song. And those who receive the skull will be slowed down, causing them to fight those around them before they get a chance to cash it in. Ultimately, this feels like Arena 2.0 being released into the main game, and this has me hyped. With ships of any type being pitted against multiple other ships of any type, allows a variety of different encounters when pursuing this voyage. With the main game being an adventure, hourglass battles, and Arena 2.0, I mean the Skull of Siren Song voyage, all into the same game mode means the world of adventure is being filled with life and content, further increasing the variety of opportunities any one person can encounter on their random voyage of the day. Which leads me to the final update being in December, Safer Seas. Now, this has been an incredibly controversial topic for the Sea of Thieves community. Ever since the game was released, there were people begging for PvE servers, and begging for ways to avoid having to deal with other players in general, just to experience the beautiful world that is the Sea of Thieves without the dangers of players. The community has been arguing on whether or not the game would die with or without PvE servers, or Safer Seas, as we're just calling it. For those who have been wanting PvE servers, they've been asking for a world without any risk of players, simple as that. But for those who are against that, they made the point that PvE servers would ruin the game. Reasons being, with an option to play the game and receive rewards, all without the risk of other players, then it would make all the achievements and cosmetics no longer valuable. And within that same argument, people have claimed that without the need for risk, very few people would ever choose to put themselves at that risk, and go for servers that give free reward, ultimately causing the main servers to drop heavily in population, ruining the game. Which is why some who have tried to find middle ground have stated that it would only work with no rewards available in the PvE servers, very similar to how it works in private servers, which are only available for the Sea of Thieves partners. Now, I've been on the side of the community that believed PvE servers could very well ruin the game. But if PvE servers were introduced correctly, with the right changes in mind, it could be perfect for the game, which is exactly what Rare did for the update that will arrive in December. Now, perfect is a matter of opinion, but I genuinely believe that the way they have implemented Safer Seas is splendid. They gave Safer Seas an incredible but necessary amount of restrictions on Safer Seas. The following are most of the restrictions. Trading company level caps being level 40 as the max for Gold Orders, Order of Souls, Merchant Alliance, and Hunter's Call. Becoming a Pirate Legend is not going to be available in Safer Seas. Reapers and Athenas are also not allowed in Safer Seas. Additionally, no emissaries in Safer Seas. On top of all that, you can only make 30% of what people can make in the main game, also known as High Seas. Meaning, If someone sells something for 1,000 gold as a grade 5 emissary on the high seas, they would get 2,500. But if someone sold that same item in safer seas, they would only get 300 gold. That is a total of an 88% reduction of profit, with major restrictions. Now, this allows people to play without the risk of other players and still make profit, but while also heavily incentivizing players to go onto the high seas for more profit. Some other restrictions include no captaincy, so no sovereign benefits, no captain voyages, no named ships. Also, players in safer seas do not have access to active events such as community weekends and Golden Glory weekends, for the purpose of bringing more people together for the community side of events. Now, all these restrictions can look pretty bleak for those who have been asking for PvE servers, but keep this in mind. Every restriction put into play for safer seas is to incentivize players to fight or work together, since that has always been the main focus of Sea of Thieves. Bringing people together to work alongside each other or to fight each other is the bread and butter of the Sea of Thieves, and the fact that safer seas is being added is definitive proof that Rare cares about every part of their community. Now, for those who are upset that safer seas is being added, you need to understand there are tons of people who are trying to play this fun little pirate game with their children, their partners, their parents, you name it. But those experiences are often ruined for the sole purpose that Sea of Thieves servers don't have skill-based matchmaking, so anyone can come together. And as amazing as that is, for newer players, they can come across some truly terrible people, and that can permanently ruin people's perspectives on Sea of Thieves, especially if there are people involved who do not play games usually. For many people, Sea of Thieves is their first game, and it must truly be terrible for some of your first ever experiences in gaming to be spawn camped while the perpetrators spew slurs. And then there are people who just plainly don't want to PvP, and that is perfectly fine. Sea of Thieves is a game for almost any playstyle out there, which means you should not be entitled to play any part of the game you don't want to. If PvP sweats don't want to do Tall Tales, then they shouldn't have to. If Tall Tale pirates don't want to PvP, then they shouldn't have to. It goes both ways, and as long as Rare has a way to give everyone what they want without fundamentally ruining the game, that is the best of all worlds. Safer Seas isn't going to ruin the game, especially with how much incentive goes into the high seas portion of the game. If you're feeling like Safer Seas is taking players away from you, then you might be the reason it was added in the first place. I'm really looking forward to Season 10 coming out, with the final Monkey Island Tall Tale just being released, Community Weekend just ending, Season 10 this month, then in November, ending in December, then with an entirely different season with Season 11 the very next month, starting next year. We have a lot of content to look forward to. Thank you, Rare, for always looking out for the community, and thank you all for watching.